Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video I'm going to be doing an art journal page using my Planners Anon All for Fall kit. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I'm going to combine two things today. I'm going to combine PA because I love PA and I love this All for Fall kit. But I'm also going to combine some art journaling just for something different. So I have the stamps, I have the papers, I have a bunch of inks here, and I'm going to have a bit of a random kind of play with it, I guess. So just to start off with, I've grabbed a piece of the same card paper that or cardstock paper, whatever you want to call it, mixed media paper that I use for my art journal. And I've just put an A5 sheet, and I'm just going to make some watercolour backgrounds, because what I'm thinking is I'm going to have some fun with the butterflies. I'll show you in a second, but if you look through my entire art journal, you can see a bit of a theme happening with the butterflies. So I'm grabbing, I've got Spice Marmalade, Barn Door, Fossilized Amber, Shabby Shutters just for a bit of green, and then Vintage Photo. I also have Aged Mahogany. I might just put a little bit of that in there as well. But to start off with, I'm going to go with the typical kind of fall colours. So I'm doing it on this first just to see if I can get the colour kind of smoosh that I want, or the kind of, yeah, the smoosh that I want. I don't want that. I'm just putting that down first. This is the Spice Marmalade. I always find if I'm doing a three-coloury kind of blend, it's sometimes fun to start with the middle colour. And I'm just playing with that until I get it to look like how I want it. And this paper is really good. It holds up very well. I'm actually just going to pick up whatever's left with my other half of the sheet, and we'll just see which one I end up using. Alright, so I've got the first run of orange down, and I'm just going to hit that with the heat tool quickly just to dry it off. Don't need to dry the whole thing, just need it to be drier. And I do find that this paper does hold up really well. So then we're going to come in with a bit of Fossilized Amber. So we've got some yellow. And they look kind of cool. I like Spice Marmalade and Fossilized Amber on top of each other. Might actually have to come in with a slightly bigger orange. That's not quite giving me what I wanted. It's alright. So I'm not even going to dry that, I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to come in with Carved Pumpkin, which is just a little bit darker than the Spice Marmalade. Not the Spice, yeah, Spice Marmalade. I'm just going to add that in bits. Oh, that's better. Now I'm getting what I want. Alright. Now I'm just going to hit this with the heat tool because I want to use a bit more of that water. A bit more water on here. This isn't completely dry. It's just dry enough. I'm just picking up a little bit more of that colour. And then I'm going to come in with a bit of the red, but I'm going to be a little bit more targeted with the red. Actually, I might do the green before I do the red. So this is Shabby Shutters. I don't want too much of it. I'm just going to try it actually on the other one. Yeah, no, that's right. Sometimes I'm a little worried about my colour choice, but no, that's what I wanted. So I'm not trying to get it fully covered. I'm just trying to get some little patches. I love the way they mix together. Even when they're dry, I love the way they mix together. And then we'll come in with a bit of the Barn Door. Now this is still wet from the Shabby Shutters, but that's okay because I want it not as all over the place. Oh yeah, now we're getting there. Oh, that might have gone a bit far, but that's okay. I'm just picking up everything that's left on the other one. You can see I'm being much less careful with this second piece. And so it's kind of coming as a mess. That's alright. And then I'm just going to add just a little bit. I'm going to dry it and then I'm going to hit a little bit of brown in it. So I've got Vintage Photo. And this is where I'm going to be a lot more careful, because I only want portions of this. I don't want big kind of areas. I just want to add a little bit. I don't know why it took me so long to get onto smushing. And I stopped caring about it being perfect. And that sort of has helped. That said, I just don't like a little bit of where that hit. So I'm just grabbing a bit of paper towel, just dabbing off where I don't like it. This one's still wet from all of the others. So I'm just picking everything up. There. That one does not look as red as the rest, but that's okay. I'm just going to add just a big sort of chunk of splatter. So this is with a very big brush. I was kind of hoping to get more than that. But anyway, hold on. Put too much water in it. The big brush is not doing what I want it to do. And I want it to be a little bit more concentrated than that anyway. So I'm just grabbing, this is my re-inker. This is just the really concentrated ink. I'm just still adding some water to it. But I'm just gonna, that's what I wanted. And because that paper is still wet, or wet in places, it's also giving me still a bit of water movement. And in fact, I'm just going to try it on this side. This is my experimental sheet. I don't really mind if I mess this one up or it doesn't quite give me what I want. Ooh. Just seeing what spraying Flex does. I've never tried it before. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know why I just did that. I'm just going to also, while I've got this little bit out, it's a very poppy little tap. Just sort of picking some of it up. And I'm going to dab it straight out because I just want it to be light. I just want a little bit more darkness in it. Here we go. Alright, I'm going to dry these two off. And then we can start with the next part. So what I'm going to do is dry that off because it's wet. Is use these as sort of backings. So I really want to play with some of these butterflies. And I'm going to do it in a way I haven't done before. So if you remember back to my picture to page haul that I did the other week, I got some heat embossing acetate sheets. And I want to give this a go. I want to see what I get. Because I've never tried it. I don't know what it's going to do. And art journaling seems to be, to me, the best place to experiment. So I'm going to grab this out of its little packaging. And it's going to be hard to see, but just trust me. Just trust me. I'm going to use it to stamp out a couple of these butterfly shapes. And we're going to heat emboss them in gold. So I can get some gold. So I'm going to do it for 3 different kinds. I'm just leaving the solid butterfly alone. No, I'm going to just do 2. I'm just going to do the 2 different patterns here. Now these would be brilliant for layering and they would look lovely. I'll do a layer actually a bit later on when I've sort of tried this and seen if it works. If it doesn't work, that's where we're going to go. And in the meantime, I'm just going to sort of try this with a couple. So I'm going to prep the acetate. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know if I need to do that. But I'm going to prep it the same way I would any other kind of acetate. Any other kind of paper, sorry. I am just going to trim this down just so that if I mess it up, I've only got a little bit, not a lot. So I'm just prepping that with some anti-static. I've put the coffee filter behind it so you guys can kind of see a little bit. And then I'm grabbing my Versamark ink. So this is where you're not going to be able to see a thing. Trust me, it's going down. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 of that one. Now the first thing I'm noticing is that it does have a little bit of slip, which I kind of anticipated, but probably a little bit more than I thought. And then we'll do 2 of the second one as well. Okay. And let's just see what happens. So I've got my gold embossing powder here. All over the acetate. Oh, that worked better than I thought it would. Okay, I'm happy already. I really thought that would go, like, just stick to the whole thing and wouldn't come off. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Can you guys see that? Oh, happy, 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 happy. And then we'll get this heated up. So just as a recent thing, I've been using this little peg. This is actually a pegboard peg from IKEA, but I find it works really beautifully for holding things. I have no idea how to do this, so we're just going to try it and see. I'm going to come from underneath. I find that I get better results that way to start with, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, first of all, that held up really well. I didn't expect it to do as well as it did. I did end up coming a little bit from the top just because I could see it better, and it was kind of flapping a little. Oh, that's pretty good. It's probably not as detailed as I would like it to be, but it's still pretty good. Okay, so then while that's cooling, I'm going to grab the outline, and this is where I'm going to use it on here, and then we're going to cut this out. So I don't need it to be a perfect impression because I'm going to cut them out anyway, but I'm just stamping a couple on here, and I'm just picking up different areas to get different colours. And then I'm just going to fussy cut these out. Now, the part about the fussy cut that's going to be the most annoying is the antenna. As much as I can, I'm just going to try and not stay away from it, but I'll sort of show you because I'm coming up round on it. So up and around the wing. I'm just going to go sort of down and then come around it, and then I'll come back in and give it the V shape afterwards. So it still looks like an antenna, but I don't need to go all the way into the detail. So something a little bit like that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these out, and I'll be right back. So I've got my butterflies. I'm going to do the same thing now with the acetate layer. Working around the outside. I'm just trying not to hit it. I don't mind it being a bit bigger because when you stick it all together it'll look lovely anyway. And then you can sort of get the idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick that to that, and just anywhere where there's a bit too much, I can just move it along. Oh, that's so pretty. I'm just having a thought too. I want another layer to the butterfly. I want it to have a little bit more softness. And so I'm just thinking, and I don't know. I'm just going to take just a little bit of the vellum, sorry. Just stamp one of the butterflies down. I'm just going to give this a quick hit with the heat tool because I don't want it to smudge, and it will smudge. This may not work. This mini layer may not work, but I'm just going to give it a go. So I'm just going to come around the edge, and I'm coming in as close as I can get without hitting the line. So with the paper ones that I did, whoops, I was a bit more... Alright, so I had a little camera issue there, so I just stopped cutting. So I'm just going to finish it. But while I was waiting, I went ahead and cut out the other acetate butterflies. So they're sitting over there on top of my embossing powder. I'm actually thinking that I don't need this vellum butterfly. I feel like I'm... Oh, actually, no, I changed my mind. So what I'm going to do is build this butterfly up. So you've got our base, we've got the vellum in the middle, and then we're going to have this bit of acetate. Now I'm going to fold that too. Oh, look at that. And then just by manipulating sort of how open it is, I'm going to be able to add some sort of layers. So that just looks so good. I'm so happy. Yay. And the cool thing is, because I left the antenna and stuff on, I can see straight through, so I don't need to worry about adding anything on top. And I can alternate if I want to, or if I want to put the gold on instead. But then to stick it down, I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue. So put that, it'll dry clear, so we don't have to worry about that. And we'll just stick that down. Sort of hold it still. Because we've got the... I probably put a little bit too much there, but it's alright. But because we've got the such a busy background, and we're going to put the acetate on top, it doesn't matter so much that I can see through the vellum. So I've got the little vellum bit up. I love butterflies. Just going to use a little bit less glue this time. And then pop in the acetate one in the middle. No, I'm not, because it's going to get stuck to my finger. There we go. And then just to hold it down, I'm just going to grab one of these little metal pegs, because it'll... I was hoping it would sort of fit there. It's not quite going to. Are these ones any bigger? No. Just seeing what pegs and pins I've got to be able to hold this down. I don't think anything's going to quite fit. So I'm just going to put it sort of as close to it as I can. It's sticking pretty well already, but I don't want it to end up being flat. There we go. Oh, bugger. There we go. So I just folded it up and have stuck it down. And I'll just sort of leave it sitting there. But it's not all stuck together, so it'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble all of my butterflies. I have 4 of them, because I only did 4 of the acetate ones. Yeah, the acetate ones. So go ahead and do all of those, and I will be back and we'll start doing our background. while my butterflies are drying, let's get onto the background here. I feel like I've taken a long time. I do have a bit of mess on here, but that's actually okay. It's not going to take away from what I want to do. So I want this to be sort of a bit of a watercolour. Whoopsies. Spilled my water. It's all good. So I'm just going to... Oh, my brush was dirty. It wasn't the same brush I used before, was it? Maybe it was. We'll use this one instead because I know it's clean. Well, I think it's clean. We'll find out in a sec. So I'm going to put... Oh, goodness me. These are the reasons that you clean your brushes. Let's hope third time lucky. Third time lucky. So I'm going to put some big sort of wet washes all over this page. I'm just going to I'm going to have barn door, fossilized amber and the carved pumpkin. So I'm going to start at the bottom, a bit of the red at the bottom, and then we'll move into the orange and then into the yellow. So I kind of wanted it to be a bit more watery than that, but kind of looks a bit straight on the edges. The colour's good, but there's just, it's a bit, oh no, actually, it's not as bad as I think it is. So I'm just going to dry that off quick. And then just to add some texture, I just want to put just a bit of spray on, and that'll hopefully oxidise. I'll just leave it for a second though because it has already been watered. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of splatter just with the colours that I've got left here. So I'll just see if that worked. Yes! I get so excited when I'm creating. A bit more. So I want that real texture. I want it to really pick up the colours. There we go. And then I'm just going to use my little brush that I used before for the brown. Just tidying it up with that bit of water that I had left in there. And just a little bit of flecks with the different colours. So each of them sort of get a representation. I'm just going to put just a teensy bit of the vintage photo as well, just so there's a bit of brown. Alright, and then just before that kind of dries off, I'm going to use the blue, no I'm not, I'm going to use the red gold. I feel like that matches. Now, I could add texture to this as well with a bit of, what's the word I want? With a bit of texture paste or stencil paste or anything like that. That will look really beautiful behind here as well. I'm just leaving it for this time. I've just picked up all that extra with that spare piece that I can use later. But it would look really pretty if you did something like that. Alright, I'm going to dry this off and we're going to come back and start putting this last bit together. Alright, just picking up any excess that's sort of there. And then before I 100% decide, yeah, I'm just going to start adding this all together. I'm just grabbing the die cuts and the papers out just quickly, just to make sure I don't want to put anything. I may be debating fussy cutting out some of these leaves, but let's just see how I go with this first. So I've got all of the die cuts from the kit. Now remember when I unboxed this, I loved how many there were, and I'm loving it even more now. The other thing I did do while my camera stopped just before is I grabbed the digital kit and I just cut out a quote and I stuck it down on some vellum. So this has got give me falling leaves and autumn please, and I'm just going to cut this out just roughly. It doesn't have to be good, because the idea of the vellum is that it'll kind of melt into the background a little bit. Because I've picked the size I have, I can stick it through my sticker maker and make it into a vellum sticker if I'm happy with it. Okay. And I printed out a couple of different sizes because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted or where I wanted it. So just taking out any of the butterflies. I'm just going to add in some leaves. Actually, part of me really wants to bring in the stamp set again and just stamp out some of these little maple leaves sort of in the background, just for some extra sort of stuff. Just before I decide, yes, that's what I want to do. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So I'm just going to rotate that around a little bit so it doesn't, they never look like they're falling the same way. And then again, not aiming for any kind of perfection, because no leaf falling is ever going to be perfect. I love using second gen stamping. Oh, that's a side note too. Before, when I was doing the butterflies, I stamped off the first layer and just used second gen stamping because it made it a little bit easier, or little bit less obvious in that vellum layer. Okay, so I'm going to put that. I'm just sort of dropping them just to sort of give them a bit of variety and a bit of randomness to them. Oh, those gnomes. I will never get over how gorgeous the gnomes are. Okay, so I'm going to have it like that. There was another leaf. Just want one more itty bitty little tiny leaf. A flower petal, either way. Just need something else up there. There we go. Okay. And then when we put the butterflies on, they can sort of float as well. So I'm going to put that through my Xyron machine, and that's just going to give me a nice vellum sticker. It's not going to hide the adhesive, but it's going to make it sort of uniform across the whole thing. So it sort of hides it by, I'm not making it a feature, but hides it by making it consistent. Oh, come on. So like I said, that just came out of the digital kit and I just printed it out on some vellum. It's not complicated, hard or anything else, but I just love that quote. And I'm just going to stick down all of the little bits. I'm just going to take off the backing piece and just sort of let them fall again. Or sort of, I know roughly where I want them to sit, so they can just sort of sit wherever I put them. As I was kind of doing that, I was thinking, oh, I should really put down, I should colour the white in, but the more I look at it, the more I actually like it. So I'm just giving that a bit more of an oomph to separate the layers. And then once I'm happy, now the other thing too you've got to keep in mind is that these are going to sit in a book, so they're probably going to get flattened a little bit. So you don't need it to be oomphy all the time, but the thing I like is I can add the oomph. I'll put that one there. So I'm sticking the whole backing down and then just oomphin' up the layers. You're probably not going to see it all that much in the video, but trust me, in real life it's there. I'm thinking I might just do 3. 3 always looks better than 4, doesn't it? Righto, 3 it is. Can always add in another one. Actually, I'll probably make a card with that last one. What I love about this is that it's been messy. It's been not perfect. And I think that's what art journaling to me has really allowed me to be. It's given me a way of being completely imperfect that I enjoy. Sometimes being not perfect makes me mad, but this just makes me happy. So there we go. I'm going to leave it at that. That's my All for Fall art journal page. I hope you guys... Actually, hold on. No, I'm not. I'm not done. I thought I was. It needs one more thing, and that's just a bit of texture on the outside. So if you've been watching me in the last couple of weeks, you'll know I'm very in love at the moment with vintaging up my edges. Just with a little bit of, this is just Distress Oxide, but Distress ink works too. Actually, any ink works. So just on a foamy pad, and I'm just hitting the edges. And if you get it too far down, that's okay, because it adds to the look. I love that gold. It just jumps at me every time. I love that you can then get the layers of the butterfly. So if you do have that really good look at it, you can see the vellum behind it. You can see the layer of colour on that watercolour at the back. I just love it. That's come together beautifully. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one too. Please give it a thumbs up if you have. If you'd like to see me do more art journal kind of pages with my PA kits, please let me know that as well. You can find me, of course, on my social medias, or you can just leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe too for lots of other Planners Anonymous videos. There have been a lot lately, but there's been lots in the past. So if you want to check them out, check the playlist at the end. I hope you have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!